Hot Reds podcast. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to Red Hot Reds, a Cincinnati Reds podcast. We cover the Cincinnati Reds from the majors to the Dominican Summer Leagues and everywhere in between. Today, we are covering the major team, a team that is finally red hot, finally catching some fire with offense. And
living up to the name of the podcast.
Hey, you know what? It's a good name, catchy name. Credit to Ricky for not naming the team "Sell the Team Bob." But that being said, Ricky, it's been a pretty decent week. I know we won both series. The getaway games on both the series kind of stinkers, but still, if you're winning 66% of your games, you're going to be a pretty good team. And that's where the Redlegs are at the moment, and we can't really complain about that. But other than that, Ricky, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good, about as good as the Reds' week's been. Didn't do a whole lot. Cooked out a little bit, sat outside and ate, had some good food and good weather. So it's been a good week. Had my birthday this past week, turned 34, feeling it too. So what about you?
Oh, yeah, wait till you hit 40, Ricky. That's where I'm at right now. So I thought my power went out for a second because my light went out. But anyway, no, my week was good. It's been great weather, man. Like even the rain that's been coming has been good for the flowers and the grass. So I can't complain. It's been a phenomenal April, which is obviously what the Reds have had. They've had a phenomenal April. But before we get into that, let's go through our sponsors. Shout out to Frost Buddy. They've been with us, frostbuddy.com/redhotreds. Got the QR code, got Ricky's, City Connect Frost Buddy right there, which is nice because that's the thing about Frost Buddy. You can get whatever size that you want, but also whatever decal you want. If you're a UK fan, Ohio State fan, Reds fan, Bengals fan, whatever, you can get it customized to whatever you like. Just like Ricky has there. His is customizable, whatever shape of bottle that you may have to be able to fit it inside of that koozie.
Yeah, it's a 10-in-1. The smaller one, they have a Universal Buddy and a Universal Buddy XL. This here is the Universal Buddy. It holds 12-ounce cans, 16-ounce cans, 12-ounce beer bottles, and I think that's about it. It doesn't hold a whole lot. Nothing crazy, but it's slim cans. There we go. It fits your slim cans. So, and your stubby bottles too. So holds about anything you want. And then the Universal XL holds everything and beyond. So it holds up to a peace tea. If you know how big a peace tea can is, they're like 24-ounce bottles. They're huge. It holds those too. So holds everything you can think of, and it has a lid. You can make it into a tumbler. So that's what I use that every day. It keeps it cold for a long time. I think for about 6 hours for a can, keeping it cold, keeping your drinks hot for about 6 hours. If you get their to-go buddy, like the ones you put your to-go drinks in, it keeps ice for like 12 hours. It keeps it cold for 24. So they're great. And you guys need to go check them out. frostbuddy.com/redhotreds.
Yeah, really appreciative that they've partnered with us to be a brand sponsor. Also thankful to Hit Machine at Hit Machine Cards on X. Go to our X page, Red Hot Reds Podcast on X, and they have a Nabel Mariano card that's going to be up for a giveaway. If you like that post, I think it's pinned to our X account, so check that out if you're really into cards. And Nabel Mariano, a guy that's on our, I think, honorable mention for top 30 Red Hot Reds top 30 prospects list. So a guy that's up and coming. I saw him in spring training as well. A guy that, has got a lot of potential. I believe he'll be a DSL guy, possibly ACL guy. We'll have to break that down because that'll be coming up soon. Our ACL and DSL breakdown in about a week or so. So look out for that when we preview those rosters because the ACL season's coming up in less than 10 days, which is awesome. But anyway, also check us out. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification button on YouTube for us. So that way we can keep growing this channel, keep getting you guys good stuff, and you'll be alerted to when we have new videos, just like our Prospects to Know video that came out on Starlin Torres just last week, where we broke down a prospect to know, Starlin Torres, who just got assigned to Daytona, and that was awesome to see him have a decent start his first time out in affiliate ball. Also, we're a podcast on Apple, Spotify, and iHeart. So if you don't catch us live or don't catch us on YouTube, you can download us as a podcast for that. Ricky, it's been a great week. Red hot red week, some might say. And they won both their series. They also were hitting home runs. They weren't just going and winning the game 2-1, 1-0, 3-2 with like very small margins. They actually put some runs on the board. And that was kind of encouraging to see as a Reds fan, because obviously April can be a really challenging month, to say the least, where we don't necessarily always come out on the strongest of front foot. I mean, obviously we have the historic back-to-back 1-0 losses at the beginning of April last year. So we're not necessarily expecting, 12 runs a game here in Cincinnati every single time out in April, but they did put some runs on the board this week. What were your takeaways firsthand from the Tampa series or the series they just finished up with the stinky Detroit Tigers?
Yeah, the Tigers, that was the battle of the supermarket chains, Kroger and Meyer. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
No, they outscored Tampa 19 to I've already lost it. 19 to 13. There it is. Outscored Tampa 19 to 13. They scored 6 runs in the opening game of the series. They scored 12 on Tuesday. They did lose 6-1 on the getaway game, but they had already wrapped up the series at that point. But yeah, it's kind of nice to see Sal Stewart kind of get back. He wasn't slumping, but he was just kind of cooling off a little bit. He went 2 for 4 on the opening game of the series with a home run. Launched it. I don't know if you remember seeing that one, but he crushed that one over I think it was left center field to like deepest part of the ballpark. Elliott went 1 for 4 with an RBI. Reese Hines had 2 RBIs. Ke'Bryan Hayes went 1 for 4. It's good seeing it. And plus, I was really impressed by Rhett Lauder in that game too, because that first inning was rough. He loaded the bases, walked 2, allowed 2 runs, and then he just was lights out the rest of the game. Pitched 6 innings. If you would have said that he pitched 6 innings after that first inning, I would have put money against you. It just didn't seem like that was going to be a possibility. Only struck out 3, but he was lights out. And then Tuesday, I think that was the Ellie game. I believe. Yep. I think there was a lot of home runs in that game.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's Dane Myers homered. Ellie hit 2 home runs. Right-handed against a right-handed position player. That was pretty cool to see. Spencer Steer homered too. So, yeah, a lot of home runs in that game. It was just a really cool series overall.
Yeah, the Tampa series, I know you mentioned the 19 runs for the Reds, 13 against. Could have been a lot more impressive, because I believe the Reds put in Kyle Nicholas in that second game, and it went from being like 12-2 to 12-6. So it looks a little bit less impressive in the run differential. And as we all kind of know as Reds fans now, Kyle Nicholas is not necessarily on top of his game, walking a bunch of guys and giving up a bunch of runs. So now, unfortunately, but fortunately for me as a Jose Franco fan,
he did get optioned down for Jose Franco. So you've had that happen twice now. You got your guy up here.
Yeah, let's hope he sticks. I want him to stick this time around. I understand that they traded for a guy like Kyle Nicholas and that they gave up a top 30 prospect and Tyler Callahan for him, that they're going to give him some runway. But neither here nor there.
We've seen enough.
Yeah, I'd like to see him in AAA for a bigger amount of time, bigger sample size, if you will. So yeah, happy for Jose Franco. But yeah, that run differential could have been a lot better if maybe we don't factor in the Kyle Nicholas home runs or the runs that given up anything. But anyway, either way, they went out there and took the series right away. Like they went out and won the first game, and then like you said, Rhett Lauder went out and battled and just kept going. Same thing kind of did today as well, kind of battling. And his control might be one of the things that issues, kind of walking a little bit, getting hit around a little bit, getting deep in counts a lot of times, but he's still a battler. And that's kind of admirable for a guy that barely pitched at all last season, just the tail end of 2025, and then pitched pretty well in the Arizona Fall League. So we're really thankful for the innings that a guy like Rhett Lauder is giving us when a Nick Lodolo is not around. right? And this is, we're still talking about offense, because obviously the offense had helped out helped out Rhett Lauder on Monday, and then also a little bit today. But unfortunately, the bullpen didn't hold it down today. It is so encouraging that we're hitting home runs, and they are coming though from kind of just two guys. And they put that stat up, I believe, last night or 2 nights ago, where I think the Reds have 18 home runs from Ellie and Sal, and 15 home runs from everybody else in the organization. And we know those two guys are the two best hitters, right? We know this. This is not new news to anybody that's a Cincinnati Reds fan that's followed it and whatever. It's more kind of, we need the other guys to kind of step up. And they kind of did a little bit, right? Like Brian Hayes kind of is starting to get online. He's hitting above 100, which is kind of crazy thing to say out loud. And then you got, Spencer Steer, like you said, is starting to get a little bit more and more hitting home runs and getting on base and whatnot, which is great to see. A little bit of here and there with Rhys Hines. Awesome, because we want Rhys Hines to stay up on this major league club for longer than 45 at bats, right? So there are signs of encouragement. There are some little things that maybe need to be ironed out, but we're trending in the right direction, and that you love to see that as we're starting to go toward May.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up this stat here. I thought this was what you were talking about with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
It's genuinely hilarious. Yeah, we got this here. We get this where we have.
This was on the Fox broadcast last night when they were playing the game on national television. Like the two guys that are leading the way, Ellie and Sal, just raking. And the batting average actually is even more, and that's even more like cringe, I guess, because it said that Ellie and Sal are hitting 285 between the two of them, and the rest of the team is hitting 188. That's 100-point difference in batting average. That's rough.
Look at the OPS difference: a 958 OPS for Ellie and Sal, and the rest of the team's 580.
Rough. But even Friedel's starting to show some signs of life. Matt McLean is starting to come online little by little. So we hope that those guys can really kind of fill in and get quality at bats going forward, right? We really need to help those two guys out, because it can't just be the Ellie and Sal show. And unfortunately now Suarez has an oblique injury, so he's going to be out. But Nate Lowe, which we'll talk about, I don't know if we want to talk about now or maybe a little bit later. Nate Lowe's starting to get some more playing time, which is encouraging because he's been hitting the snot out of the ball. So maybe obviously that stat is hilarious to look at right now, but maybe it's not telling the whole picture. That's just for obviously the beginning of the season up until maybe a week ago. And a couple of those other guys are starting to finally start to hit.
Yeah, we can talk about the offense now if you want. Yeah. I mean, Lowe's getting playing time with the Suarez injury. We're seeing Ke'Bryan Hayes start to hit the ball a little bit better. Steer playing a little bit better. I've noticed they've been pitching him differently. They've pitched him more inside over the last few games. And then like Sal, he's just picking up right where he left off. I mean, he had the little slow stretch for a couple games, but he's right back to where he was all season. Ellie, his right-handed hitting is just on another level right now. And he's never hit the ball right-handed this good in the majors in his career. So I'm really, really excited to see where that goes. And, just Stevenson, if he can get going, if Friedel can start to pick it up a little bit more. McLean, he had the big game 2 days ago, but he kind of slowed down. If he can get going a little bit more, obviously he's not going to be the player he was in spring training, but if he could be half of that guy in spring training and hit 250 or, at least above the Mendoza line, it'd be nice to see. But, we do have some guys coming through. We had Hines getting some playing time. He came up in the Minnesota series, so he's getting some time. Where Blade got called up yesterday. He got his first at bats today. He had a home run in his second at bat. So that was cool to see. And then, not to mention that Marte is hitting 450 down in AAA right now. So I mean, obviously it's AAA, but if he could just, like they say in basketball, you see a ball go through the hoop, like you can get on a hot streak, you can heat check as they say.
Mhm.
Maybe he can get that going up here in Cincinnati and have a nice string of games where we're not just relying on two guys, because eventually it might not look like it, but eventually Sal and Ellie are going to cool down. Like they're going to
Mhm.
go through a slump, and we if they go through a slump, then we're in trouble with how the rest of the team's been hitting.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We had talked all the way back to before they made the final roster decisions, toward the tail end of spring training, about the Nathaniel Lowe part of this roster, the Nathaniel Lowe decision for this roster. And I believe they made the right one. And I hope I don't hope, it seems like also Nathaniel Lowe bought into the concept of what he was going to be as his role on this team, because he did not play at the beginning of the season. He barely in there in spot starts and spot pinch hitting situations. And I was kind of worried because he's 30 years old. He had opt-outs and whatnot. If he didn't get his contract picked up, I believe, at the end of spring training for the opening day roster. So it was going to be kind of interesting what the Reds were going to do, if they were going to keep him on the bench, if he was going to be content with that role, if they would, say, bide your time, your opportunities will come, we're going to put you in. And by golly, obviously the injury to Suarez, I think, is completely opening up the doors to Nathaniel Lowe showing what he can completely do for this ball club. And this weekend, for me at least, was the Nathaniel Lowe weekend that cements the decision of putting him on this opening day roster and keeping him in this organization. Because if they didn't, I don't know, you know what I mean? Maybe they lose this series to the Tigers, right? They obviously definitely lose Friday's game where Abbott kind of struggled and the offense bailed out the team a couple times just on Friday. And then, Nathaniel Lowe hit back-to-back home runs. He hit the walk-off, and then his first at-bat on Saturday hit another home run after Sal hit the 3-run home run. So, I guess, it's just lots of fireworks, man. Bob Castellini is going to be spending more than his budget for fireworks in April, I believe, because he's been shooting them off left and right with all these home runs in the early going. So hopefully he's got a lot of money stored up for the rest of the month, because they got 3 games against the Rockies, and you ain't going to tell me they're going to hit 0 home runs against the Rockies in the next 3 days.
Yeah, I wrote about Nathaniel Lowe and how he's just been like this massive addition for the Reds. And there was an interesting quote he said after the game on Friday night. He said they just come in bunches. Thankfully, after I tore the lid off of the first one, I get to open up, and I'd like to see a bunch keep coming, but just keep throwing together quality at bats will lead to that. And it did, because he hit 2 more home runs in the series, or 3, 2 more home runs in the series. He had 1 on Saturday and then 1 on Sunday. So he's just been a great addition to this team. And I've had this hot take kind of brewing in my head. I know we're not in the hot take section, but I think I've just seen enough of TJ Friedel that I'm okay with seeing Dane Myers and Blade split center field, and you have Hines and Steer and Benson in the outfield, and you keep low, and because you're gonna have to make a move eventually, right? Like something's gonna, especially if Marte comes back up, like you're gonna have to make a move. I want to see Hines get more at bats, and Blade's been too hot to sit down. Lowe's been too hot to sit down. Like you got to make a move somewhere, and I think I've seen enough of TJ Friedel. Either put him on the IL. Like he had a play today in center field. I mean, you were there at the game. He was just so far away from it, and 2 years ago he gets that ball probably, and just now he's not. The regression from him athletically has been very noteworthy, just, I guess, to say the least. It's been a dramatic fall off, which is sad because he's not that old. He's 30, about to turn 31. But I guess the hamstring injuries are catching up, and just his play style, because we're seeing him he's had a couple hits in the last couple games. Like, I'm not saying he's been completely useless, but usually we'll see him like drop a bunt down, and that's his hit. And it's like, oh, he got a hit today. Like, no, it was a bunt. Like, it's not the same. Like, because he'll have a bunt and go 1 for 4, and then he'll go 0 for 12 the next 3 games, and it's like, oh well, what are we doing here? But yeah, I think I've seen enough of Friedel. I want to see Blade more. I want to see Hines more. I want to see Benson more. I don't really care for Steer in the outfield, and now with the Suarez injury, maybe we can see him more at first base with Sal, and we could have Stewart, Sal get DH time, Steer at first, Lowe gets a day off, and then kind of move them around with Suarez being out, and then eventually you figure that out again when Suarez comes back. But yeah, my hot take, I've just seen enough of TJ Friedel up. I mean, he's batting like 184, I think, to start the year. It's not great. Yeah.
And there's that comment that I bring up time to time on the show from Tito or the organization. I believe it was Tito, is that he said that 152 games out of TJ Friedel last year was too much. So at the very least, if they're not going to send him down, they best platoon him. And Dane Myers has shown to be a capable center fielder, capable against left-handed hitters, and against right-handed hitters, not too bad as well. And a decent leadoff hitter is to boot. That I'm not saying he's completely going to take all of TJ's playing time, but he should platoon with Blade, Myers and Friedel for that left field, center field type pairing, right? And the Reds know that his ability to cover center field isn't as great as it used to be, because they often like defensive replace the left fielder, put Dane Myers in center, and then end up putting TJ in left, right? So they know for sure that he's not covering the field as well as he possibly could a couple of years ago, and that's not something small, right? Because even Great American Ballpark is not the biggest center field, and if they're saying TJ Friedel can't cover center field at age 30, going to age 31,
in Great American Ballpark,
every inning at Great American Ballpark, that's saying something, because like there's way bigger ballparks that would have to cover a lot more center field and whatnot. And yeah, to be honest with you, there's even a couple plays where I see like Spencer Steer in left field going way into like what would possibly be the center fielder's spot. And maybe it's just the starting position. Maybe it's the jump off the bat that TJ can't read as well as he used to. But it feels like he's not able to hold his own. And we've got capable hitters that need to get playing time. Dane Myers, JJ Bleday, Reese Hines. Those guys got to get at bats. And if they're taking away opportunities, if playing TJ Friedel every single day lead off in center field is taking away opportunities from those guys, that might be hurting this team ultimately.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, Friedel's not been completely useless in the last 7 games. He's batting .296, but he's only got a .296 on base percentage too. He hasn't walked in the last 7 games. He does have 5 strikeouts. But you look at his Savant page, just look up his StatCast numbers. He's a -1 arm value. His arm strength is in the 55 percentile. Sprint speed, he's down in the 38th percentile. And then you go to his batting stats, like he's not great. He's in 7th percentile in sweet spot, 4th percentile in hard hit, 13th percentile in barrel percentage, 9th percentile in exit velocity. His squared up percentage is a little bit better. He's at the 62nd percentile, chase percentage 59th percentile, whiff percentage in the 63rd percentile. K rate, he's in the middle of the pack. Walk percentage, middle of the pack. But I mean, his outs above average is at 0. And like, if I was to bring up, let's just say, Dane Myers, he hasn't played a whole lot, but pulling up Dane Myers now, he's at a +1 outs above average. So he, in limited playing time, he's a better outfielder than what TJ Friedel's provided. And then you look at his offensive stats. Yeah, they're not like official because of the limited playing time, but he's in the sweet spot percentage. He's at 48% sweet spot, which is in like the 100th percentile, which isn't official because he's not playing every day. Barrel percentage is up near like the 80th percentile at 14% barrel percentage. Expected slugging 657. Expected batting average 349. Expected OBA 485. Like whiff percentage 13%. Chase percentage 12%. Like he's not chasing. He's not whiffing. He's walking a lot 17%. I mean, I've seen enough to play Dane Myers in center field every day over TJ Friedel. And then to have JJ Bleday, who's just been ripping the cover off the ball in AAA and has absolutely earned playing time in Cincinnati. I think he's earned. It's time. Like it's just time.
Absolutely, I think so. I think it's been a month of baseball. There's not like a small sample size thing. The only thing we're running up against with all these stats don't matter to Tito Francona. And we know he's pretty stubborn. He batted Matt McLain how long in the 2-hole when Matt McLain clearly needed to drop in the lineup. And they threw in, I think, Noel Marte at times last year, whoever was hot in between Friedel and Ellie. But I think we might see another week or so of TJ Friedel. The problem is when is this really starting to really affect the team? Fortunately for TJ Friedel, McLean's starting to come on. Ellie's hitting. Sal's hitting. Suarez, before he got hurt, was hitting. Now Nathaniel Lowe stepping up. He's almost like his flaws are being covered up by the guys around him, and this could persist another month. And I'm not trying to say,
which is a shame because he's hitting leadoff.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say I want TJ Friedel out of this team. I want him to get the at bats that he deserves. I don't want him to possibly take away at bats from Bleday, Myers, Rhys Hines, because we know what those three guys can do. We've seen already Bleday today, a home run in his second at bat. Myers has been playing well in the limited amount of time. Rhys Hines has played well in the limited amount of time. I'd hate for it to be that situation where we're going to see a stat going into next year or at the end of last year where we gave 300 at bats to TJ Friedel and he was a below average player. That's
who TJ Friedel is this year. TJ Friedel this year is Santiago Espinal last year.
Oh, you're gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that. Ooh, that's not good.
But it's the truth because this year this team has a lot of power. And you need somebody at the top of the lineup that gets on base. And he's just not doing that this year. And, for a team that's going to hit a lot of home runs, which is surprising to say. I didn't think I would be saying that they would be up there towards the top of the league in home runs. But, it's time to make a change. Like he is Santiago Espinal this year, is TJ Friedel.
That's rough. That's rough to say. Yeah. No, I can't really disagree. I hope that stubborn Tito realizes that every 8 and guess what, Ricky? They're still in first place. Despite all our moaning about TJ Friedel getting all these at bats and not possibly being the leadoff hitter that we want him to be, or he's not the TJ Friedel of 2 years ago, or even last year, he was still 18-10 and ahead of the division, but every game matters here on out, right? Like every single game matters. We're going to play the Rockies and then we're going to play against the Pirates in Pittsburgh, which we don't necessarily fare well there. So those games are going to really matter. You can't drop a game there if it's because TJ Friedel went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, right? So hopefully by the time we get to Pittsburgh, maybe Dane Myers plays 2 of those 3 games. I don't know. We'll see. Anything else about this red hot offense before we move it on?
No, it's just really cool to see, for a team that plays in a ballpark that privies to home runs, they're hitting home runs, and not just at home, they're hitting a lot of home runs on the road too.
Oh, I do want to shout out one thing because I saw Clay Snowden's tweet on this, and I had almost the kind of same exact thought. The 3-run homer on Saturday night for Sal was not his best swing, yet it's still just out of there.
That was crazy.
Just how strong he was with that swing, even though it wasn't his best swing on the ball, just got it out of there, went 360 feet. And that wasn't just like an almost home run, almost, you know what I mean? That was 4, 5, 6 rows deep. And it looked like he didn't get his best swing on it, and it still carried and it still got it out of there. No doubter. So I was like, okay, unfortunately, I had the negative text to you saying after that home run, now we can't afford him.
Yeah, it's funny. I texted that to the Reds on SI group, and they all laughed at it because they all know it's kind of true too.
Every single homer, every single day that he is breaking Albert Pujols' record, and we'll get into that a little bit later with Salazar. But every single day, he gets more and more expensive. That's all I'm saying. So, Reds, get it done, do the right thing, and if you can't extend Sal Stewart, extend Alfredo Duno. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm gonna pull up this.
Was it last night's homer? Yeah, this
Yeah.
was the crazy thing is that.
Here we go. That was not his best swing.
Not at all. Not at all his best swing. A little bit kind of like almost out in front, not unsure of what was coming. I think it was an off speed, maybe slider or what have you. Like he just kind of got the bat out in front and then still has enough to flick it 360 feet. That's what we got there at first base. And we're going to get to that a little bit more. Well, we're going to cover the Hall of Fame ceremony first before we get into all Sal stuff because, man, that might be a long segment. But anyway, this weekend was a special weekend. It was a weekend that Ricky called of last year at this time. I think we were talking about who was going to be on the ballot for the Hall of Fame for the Reds.
I think it was a scoreboard stumper. It was a scoreboard stumper, and it had him on there.
Yes, and Ricky clearly knows ball because he talked about how he knew on this ballot in November, I think is when the ballot came up in November 2025, that the class of 2026 was going to have that dude, BP, Brandon Phillips, enshrined with a red jacket in the Hall of Fame. And no doubter, they didn't release the vote totals, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was the top vote getter for that. But also Aaron Harang and Reggie Sanders and Lou Piniella got in, all deserving. I think when we talked about when the class came out for the voting, it's probably possibly one of the better Hall of Fame classes of recent memory to go in. And rightly so. All those guys are Reds legends at the very least, and had a great ceremony where they all got to bring their families, all got to bring their kids and their moms and dads to Great American Ballpark and had a ceremony out there before the Saturday game. And Fox 19 televised it, which was great because I wasn't going to go to that game and ended up being on TV, which is awesome to see. But Ricky, what were your first thoughts about Hall of Fame weekend for the Redlegs?
Yeah, they have probably the greatest Hall of Fame in all of Major League Baseball. Just the way they honor their past. And it was really cool seeing Johnny Bench film Brandon Phillips' speech, which is like it's Johnny freaking Bench, man. Like he's the greatest catcher of all time. He's filming Brandon Phillips, but yeah, I mean, three deserving guys. Brandon Phillips is, I would say, the second best second baseman in Reds history, right behind Joe Morgan. Reggie, just phenomenal guy. Listening to Larkin's story about the perfect game with Pedro, where he got hit and then he charged the mound, and that was hilarious. And then Aaron Harang he's just a workhorse. I mean, I don't think he gets enough credit, honestly, because I think just because the Reds weren't winning a whole lot of games back then, that he doesn't get enough credit. I mean, he led the league in complete games and wins, I think, too, in like 2006, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But just great. Just great. That's all I can say. It's just great. And then the Reds wore their new City Connect same day on Saturday, and that was the Fox game, right? Because it was kind of cool hearing Adam Wainwright, Cardinals legend Adam Wainwright. Give him respect, like Cardinals legend Adam Wainwright. Really kind of hype up Cincinnati. I was really surprised. Like every chance he could, he would just say, they killed me, but they had great players. They had Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, Ryan Ludwig. They had great players on that team that faced Wainwright. But he mentioned like Skyline Chili, and they were heavily shouting out Grater's ice cream, which we're all about that. But he's like, get you a cup of Grater's ice cream, get you a plate of Skyline Chili, throw your Skyline Chili in the trash, and enjoy your ice cream. I was like, oh, you had me until you said throw it away. But yeah, I
good.
mean, it was just cool hearing outsiders talk about Cincinnati the way that we feel as fans like we live and die for this team, right? So like hearing outsiders hype up the Reds opening day, the Reds Hall of Fame, like it was just really cool to hear.
Yeah, it's I obviously I think Joey Votto works for NBC, infamously, which I'll get to in one of my takes one of these days. But anyway, it was very interesting to hear a Cardinal legend talk so highly about Cincinnati. And famously, Ricky, I don't watch the game with sound on it, keep it muted, and I only saw the conversation on X, the Everything app, about all the things that he was glazing up in Cincinnati. He did call Great American Ballpark the Devil's Lair, though, so that's one thing, because I think he's, as a pitcher, probably hates going to a hitter-friendly ballpark, especially if that team is able to utilize that ballpark to their advantage, as they did through the 2010s, as the Reds kind of did against Wainwright from time to time. So yeah, it was a showcase game, in so much that they also talked a lot about in the broadcast the guys that went into the Hall of Fame, right? And the Brandon Phillips highlights were like everywhere. You know what I mean? The Lou Piniella talking about the 1990s with Reggie Sanders team and all that. Like that 1919 was all talked about, because that's the last time the Reds, unfortunately won the World Series. But it is two guys that were a part of it in that legendary team. But like the weekend was just kind of also great because of all the players that came back as well. I don't think I told you this. We went to the Hall of Fame museum before the game, because we got there down there early, and it's a great place to go. And then just shout out to the Reds Hall of Fame Museum, 3 floors of Reds history, just top to bottom, all sorts of things of memorabilia. Got the World Series trophies on display. They got all sorts of game worn jerseys and stuff like that, interactive videos and everything. But also they did a meet and greet, and Bronson Arroyo was there, and Mario Soto was there, and Eric Davis was there when I went through the meet and greet line. And they all felt like they were a part of this greater community of Cincinnati, right? A lot of the, Brand Phillips talks about how he said he's coming home to Cincinnati to retire a Red, and there was all the coverage of him having that retirement ceremony, and getting teared up about it as well, which is, that's how much it means to him. And like Bronson Arroyo is like always here and always friendly to the fans and everything. So it's got that home atmosphere. I don't think they have many atmospheres like this when the, old timers come back. Maybe the Yankees, because they got that old timers game and all that, and they bring all the legends out and everything like that. But it's like that, except that you can really go up and, shake hands and talk to these guys and whatnot about it. In fact, for the meet and greet, the little story is I in the parking lot saw Bronson Arroyo running to his car to get his guitar, and I was like, no, that's not him. Why would he be in like the parking lot that I'm using to get a guitar? So he actually was, and when he came back up, I said hey to him, like, hey, what's going on? You're playing a show? He was getting his guitar because Mario Soto and Eric Davis weren't there yet, so he played a couple songs for the fans waiting in line on his guitar for the meet and greet. I got out there late because it was a long line, but I was like, when I talked to him, I'm like, this guy is like all about it. I don't know. I guess can't say enough about guys that give back to this community after they're done playing. And obviously one of those is Bronson for sure.
Yeah, he seems like a genuine guy. I'd love to have a conversation with him about not just baseball but music too, because I'm a music junkie, and he was at the Blue Note over in Harrison, Ohio, where I work over that way, and I had a couple friends go there after. It was like a Friday night or something, and they showed me a lot of videos. Like it was really good. So I'd love to talk to him, just not just about baseball, but just music too.
Oh, he's so super approachable. Like a lot of these guys have an air of like you can't talk to them because they're so like larger than life, but he's like down to earth. Really, anyway, he reminds me a bit kind of like Sean Casey. Sean Casey has got this quality where like he'll meet you for the first time, but he's like your best friend. It's like
you've known him forever.
Exactly, crazy stuff. But anyway, that's besides the point. Congratulations to Reggie Sanders, Lou Piniella, Brandon Phillips, and Aaron Harang. They well deserve to wear that red jacket, and not. I just got an X post notification of they doing the ceremony tonight of like all the guys coming back and having a dinner, and all the Reds players having a dinner with the legends and all that. And it's just, living history is basically what it is. All these guys that are inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame, and obviously have created lots and lots of memories for you, I, and everyone else that's a Reds fan around here. So we're just thankful that, I don't know, I was thankful to just be a part around that atmosphere this weekend just for a little bit.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite memory of any of the three players that got inducted? Because obviously our favorite memory with Lou is the World Series, but do you have any favorite memories of Reggie or BP or Aaron Harang?
Right. Obviously, BP was the one that I've seen the most because I moved here to Cincinnati in 2011. So that was like towards the tail end of his tenure here. Aaron Harang had already moved on. Obviously, Lou Piniella and Reggie Sanders are already gone. My favorite memory, though, for just recent is the Sanders getting the call. I forget who called him. This is just a story that they shared I think on Hot Stove League, I believe, on 700 WOW. And Reggie Sanders, I think, got a call from somebody, either from the Reds Hall of Fame Museum or from a friend that was already inducted, like, maybe like Eric Davis or something like that. And Reggie Sanders was told, that this Hall of Fame induction for you, Reggie, is going to have Marge Schott rolling over in her grave. And I was like, because there are some there's some wild stories of how March treated those 1980s, 1990s, 2000s players, and unfortunately Reggie was subject to some of that behavior, I guess you can say. And I guess I have a lot more respect for the guys that went through that kind of stuff in retrospect, like Eric Davis, for example, anyone else on that 1990s winning team. So like that kind of sticks with me. Obviously the funniest highlight that played like a million times this weekend, Ricky, was the butt tag from Brandon Phillips.
Yes.
I don't know. Even my wife was asking, like, why did that guy slide with his head up? Why didn't he just go under and like miss his butt? Like he almost ran in anyway. If you know what we're talking about.
The baseball version of the butt fumble.
Except that he was out, so it's like it wasn't like that Phillips made the error. It was the base runner running into the backside of Brandon Phillips, and Phillips probably laughing his head off that whole time because he's like, watch this. Like, look what I'm going to do. Because he could have, pivoted and turned it all. But anyway, it's obviously a highlight of the defensive mastery of Mr. Brandon Phillips. Gold Glover, right? Many times over. It's definitely a highlight for him. But what would be your like takeaway from this Hall of Fame and favorite memory of any of these guys?
I'd probably say Aaron Harang probably would be his just his first complete game that he threw against the Cardinals. I remember watching that game, and it was he was on it. And I remember it was a quote where he said that it was I think it was the top of I think they were at home. It was whatever it was. It was the inning he was pitching. The game would be over. So I'm assuming it would be actually I think they were on the road. So let's just say the bottom of the ninth. I think he gave up a single. It was like a 2-0 game. Pitching coach came out and he's like, "You better get your ass back there." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm finishing this game." And then he's like, "I'm gonna throw a slider. I'm gonna get him out in front. He's gonna ground it into a double play." And sure enough, he threw a slider. Pujols went out in front, grounded into a double play, got his first complete game. And he said that you could see he was pointing at the dugout when he was shaking hands with the catcher, and he's like, "I told you."
Wow.
And he was just a workhorse. I don't think I could put into words about how underrated Harang is as a starter. He doesn't have the flashy numbers like today we're seeing from Chase Burns or Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, but he would go out there, give you 8 innings, 7 innings was like a minimum for him, and he'd give his best to give you a win. And I think my favorite Brandon Phillips memory, there's two. One's a moment would be the between the legs throw was just crazy, and then two, um, just kind of speak about the person he is. So we were at a game. This would have been like 2013 or 2014. It was right around his last few games he played for the team, and they were playing Tampa, I believe, and we were sitting right second or third row by the tarp at first base, and Billy Hamilton was there. He was signing autographs. He was swarmed. So like BP was kind of like off to himself. And my mom was there. She had a ball. I was like, go up there and get his autograph. Like he's right there. Like go do it. And she made her way down there, got his autograph, and she said thank you. And like he like looked at her like no one ever says that. And he gave her like the biggest smile. And that just trademark BP smile. And I think just he's such a genuine person, and like I've seen tweets like he went to a kid's game because the kid tweeted Brandon Phillips back when Twitter was like kind of first starting.
Huh.
He's like, "Hey BP, will you come to my game?" And he did. Like he went to the kid's baseball game. Like he's just a genuine, just a great guy, and he's an even better person than he was a baseball player, and he was a hell of a baseball player.
All right. Very true. Very true. Yeah. Great weekend all around, especially because they won 2 out of 3 games in front of the Hall of Famers. I think, even in that rain-soaked rain delay game, I think Brandon Phillips is up there chopping it up with Jim Day in between all that stuff, getting some viral clips out there with whatever they were doing with that. But overall, great weather weekend. Aside from that rain on Friday, it was good to see the Redlegs get back to it in terms of, man, I don't know. It feels like sometimes the Reds can have these spurts of offense, and you never know if it's going to be a consistent thing. So it was good to see a whole week, at least 4 out of the 6 games, having a healthy offense output, and then doing it in front of all the Hall of Famers on Saturday night as well was kind of just a treat for everybody. Especially, the nation who was watching possibly on Fox, to see what the Reds are all about. So that was kind of good. And a guy that for sure showed out on Saturday night and is in line, Rookie of the Year already. Like, I mean, get your bets in before the betting line gets too negative. Well, he's probably a negative favorite, right? Negative 100, 120, whatever the odds are. I'm not a betting person, but Sal Stewart, we're going to talk about, everybody. Sal Stewart has been on a tear. I mean, we heard about this nickname in spring training given to him by Reese Hines. Ricky had put it out there, and some people kind of pushing back, like, really? Salbert Pujols, really going to compare him to Albert Pujols? Albert Pujols? Like, that's a little bit much. And I didn't want to put that kind of pressure on him because we knew he was a good player. We knew he was one of the 2 best hitters on this team. But for him to go out there and put up the numbers he has, my goodness, Ricky, like, what are your, I mean, I guess try to keep your thoughts in less than 30 minutes about Sal Stewart, because I know we can keep going on and on about, but like, what were your thoughts about Sal and his record, first month in 2026?
Yeah, talk about pressure. I don't want to put too much pressure, but he's on pace to become one of the greatest Reds of all time. And I'm not saying that lightly. When you're in the same conversation as Albert Pujols, like Albert Pujols is one of the greatest players of all time. So, like I said, he's got a long ways to go. I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying he's on the trajectory, if he keeps this up, to become one of the greatest Reds of all time. Like we mentioned earlier, there's a stat that he had put up in yesterday's ball game where he had reached, I believe it was 28 RBIs before May.
Yeah.
27 RBIs.
Yeah.
The most by a Red prior to the month of May. Any Red ever, not just rookies. Any Red ever prior to May, and he ties Albert Pujols for the second most by any MLB rookie prior to the month of May. So there's your Pujols connection. I wrote about it a little while ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers are there. You know, the only difference is Pujols made his debut at the beginning of the season, and Sal had debuted in September of the season prior for his rookie season. So it's a little different numbers wise because I think the Reds just didn't want to put too much pressure on him last year, being in a playoff race and everything. He didn't play every day. He didn't get a ton of at bats, but he led the team in home runs in September in limited playing time. Yeah. And we're seeing him in everyday playing time, leading the Reds in home runs. Him and Ellie are tied with 9. So it's unbelievable. I had wrote about them today also. I don't want to plug my own stuff here, but
Go ahead.
They're on pace to become the first teammates ever to have a 50 home run and 35 stolen base season. Like Shohei Ohtani is the only player ever to have 50 home runs and 30 stolen bases or more, and they're on pace to have 2 on the Reds. Like that's it's incredible. It's just I don't even know the words. Like we could go on for an hour. We could just have a designated Sal show because and Ellie. I mean, like we had that segment last year. Is Ellie good? It was kind of tongue in cheek, but like yeah, he's great. But you get so many of the haters online that he strikes out. Well, look at Aaron Judge's strikeouts. Look at Shohei Ohtani's strikeouts. So Ronald Acuna strikes out. Like all these guys strike out. It's just part of the game now. Like Adam Dunn was ahead of his time, and if he played today, he'd be a $300 million contract player. And that's just more of the case that we need to extend Sal Stewart now. But I mean, like Fuzzy on YouTube. I don't know if you know who he is or not, but he does like MLB recaps or like around the horn style, around the league. He had posted the comparison, like the projection. So Sal Stewart's on pace for 54 home runs, 174 RBIs, and 42 stolen bases. So that's 54 and a 40. Like Shohei's the only player to ever do that. And then you got Ellie, who is on pace to hit 54 home runs and 36 stolen bases with 120 RBIs. No one else has done that either, and to have 2 players on the same team in that conversation is just crazy.
Yeah, and on display this weekend was not just Sal and his Rookie of the Year campaign, but Kevin McGonigal on the other side for Detroit, who has already been extended, which is why we keep talking about this extend Sal Stewart stuff, because it seems like McGonigal is the future for the Detroit Tigers baseball club. Just like Sal is the future for this team. And it's funny because, like you said, that he tied Albert in 2001 for 27 RBIs before May. He's already broken that. And he's got 3 more games against the lowly Colorado Rockies where he could just go past. I forget who's in first. It's probably some old timer. That rookie, it's like 31 RBIs or something like that before May. But anyway, he's already surpassed a 2001 rookie Albert Pujols. I was going to call him Stewholes. I just got that Stewholes in my head so much. But anyway, he's not just competing for Rookie of the Year honors. I think he's going to get MVP votes if he's playing this way. I don't think he's also gotten thrown out. I think he's 7 for 7 or 8 for 8 stolen bases. Yeah. So like he's not just producing value with his bat. He's on the base paths, producing, and he's out there playing a pretty decent first base, learning to scoop the ball better, learning to play, the run better. Overall, this guy is becoming a cornerstone of this team. And like we talked about, obviously we're going to talk about probably every episode until he's signed. He's just going to get that more and more expensive because he is proving to be the next best first baseman since Joey Votto.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this tweet. I can't remember if I tweeted it on my account or the podcast account, but I feel like I remember tweeting that the Rookie of the Year and the MVP will be in Cincinnati. and
You did.
I don't remember.
You said
which
like a
one I
month
picked.
ago. You said
Yeah, it was a while ago. But I just don't remember when I did. I'm trying to find it because I want to pin it.
I'm pretty sure it's
But
on the podcast account. Yeah, and you said that
okay,
like early April. This was not like after Sal was like killing it. This
I
was
found
like
it. Yeah, it was March 28th. It was over a month ago. It was a month ago tomorrow. I
that
said
wasn't even the first
MVP
series.
and Rookie of the Year will be a Red.
We weren't even done with the first series. That was Saturday of game 2. That's crazy. That's
I
crazy.
feel good about that. I got no traction on that either. Just
Yeah. Screenshot that and
I'm
say
gonna
like,
quote it and just say just saying.
yeah,
But
where were you all? Where were you all on March 28th?
but I mean,
Well,
like it could happen. Like I'm not saying it will because like Shohei, right? Like he's gonna get there's gonna be Shohei fatigue eventually, right? But
he's
I mean,
pitching again, so like there's that again. But anyway,
but is there
yeah.
anybody that can do what Ellie does? Is there anybody doing what Sal's doing right now? Like Sal isn't known as a base stealer, and he's up there in stolen bases.
Yeah, it's not a hot take, but like I think the Reds are on pace for like 96 and 97 wins. If they do that,
They're on pace for 108.
Okay, well, I mean, in reality, I don't know.
In reality, we're looking at like
This is not the
92 to
1975 Reds,
Yeah.
but it could be. But I think in reality, if they're on pace for like 96, 97, Ellie is an MVP top 2 easily. But
yeah,
that means they have to win 97 games, which they're out to
could
a great
happen.
start.
It could happen.
They have a winning month of April already, and they still got 3 more games.
Is this their best April in like a long time? Because I don't remember them having very good Aprils.
No, they don't. Historically, they are horrible, and I had this stat, and that's why I'm looking for it. So they're just the last couple years. Last year, they were 14 and 13 in April. 2024, they were 14 and 13 as well. 2023, 12 and 15. And that's probably like how they generally are, is like in that range where they're maybe good, maybe bad, but they generally don't take off to like May and June and July to have like really winning months. So this one, I think they got 15 wins already and maybe 9 losses, I want to say, on the month. And then they got 3 more games. They could have an 18-win month, which is huge for April, I believe. But like, yeah, they're generally like, as the kids would say, they're pretty mid in April, or they have a losing month. So
yeah, so hey, Tito effect. I people we have our fair share of criticism towards how he's been managing sometimes, with not going with analytics. I'm not an analytical guy, but at some point you got to read into some of it. There is underlying metrics to why somebody's not performing. But, generally over the last 25 years or so, or whatever it may be, I mean, he goes to a new team, he wins. He won 2 World Series with Boston, got to a World Series with Cleveland. They were perennial, like 85 to 97 win teams in Cleveland. Like,
yeah.
Last year, I think was a little bit of an outlier with how young the Reds roster is. He retired for a year. There's a little bit of a difference there. If we're getting Tito's back, I mean, maybe he's rubbing off and this team's finding a way, because we're seeing like we're 11-0 in games decided by 2 runs or less. Like they're 1 win away from tying the all-time record.
Yeah. And also the thing that we harped on so much during the David Bell era was the terrible base running, the terrible fielding and defense. And they started the first 11 games without an error for this Reds team. So he's making them a better ball club, not just in the winning category, but the little things that matter to become a winning franchise. And yeah, they're not playing their best baseball in some aspects, right? Like basically the starters have been bailed out by the offense or bailed out by the bullpen. Like it's been that kind of thing where we're not getting, dominant stuff out of all of our starters. We're not getting great production out of 1 through 9. We're just getting 3 and 4 to get production. And, basically we're just cobbling together wins because these guys, I think, are having the same mentality as Tito, is just never give up on a game, keep grinding, keep working, play fundamental baseball, don't give away outs, and just get after it. That's what you want. That's the thing that frustrates us when we go up against the Milwaukee Brewers, right? They don't have, mega talent Shohei Ohtani's. They don't have, a bunch of guys that you've heard of, but they just play fundamental baseball. They hit the guys over. They don't give away outs. They don't strike out. They don't make errors, and they win games. And you're like, how did we lose? Basically, So I don't know. This team, honestly, to be where they are right now, and like I said, not feeling like they've played their best baseball yet, that's scary. I mean, watch out, everyone else.
I mean, they could get extremely hot and have like, a 5-loss month, and just they haven't had a winning streak bigger than five games yet, right? So I mean,
Right.
they could go on like a 10-game heater, like Chicago did,
Mm-hmm.
and really the only reason Chicago is doing where they're at is because of that 9-game winning streak. Like the way it's been going, like really the Reds and the Pirates should be kind of running away with first and second place, but just for some reason, Chicago got hot. Milwaukee has been okay. Just they had that 6-game losing streak.
6
They're
or 7,
still
yeah.
they're
They-
still above 500. Like the whole
Yeah,
they're I think they're at 500.
yeah.
Like the whole division is at 500 or better. Like, and that's including the Cardinals. I think we had all wrote off. Like we didn't have any expectations for them to be anything, but like with the Reds, Jordan Walker is having a great season for them, and it just shows you like a talent like him, similar to Ellie, can get hot and can carry an offense and can carry a team for a stretch of time.
Yeah. St. Louis is on a 4-game losing streak, so they may be coming back down to earth. Milwaukee, has been okay. The Cubs luckily lost the last 2 games to the Dodgers, so thank you, Dodgers, I guess.
Yeah,
for stopping those Cubs from winning 12 games in a row, and then hearing a bunch from Reed Mouse about a 12-game winning streak, like how the Reds have a couple seasons back. But yeah. Here's the thing about Tito. Like, I think there's not going to be big, like a Tito type ball club. I don't think there's going to be a big losing streak, and I don't think there's going to be a big winning streak. I think they're just going to stack series wins. They're going to go into series knowing that they have the ability to take 2 out of 3 from anybody, whether that's, a division leader or, a bottom dweller. They're just going to go about their business the same way. Hopefully not take any team for granted and anything like that. But like, that's a good position to be in, I guess, as a ball club, is that you have confidence that this team is just not going to not turn up. Every single day that they have an opportunity to win, they're going to go out there and try to win. And they got young guys mixed with some veterans, mixed with some guys that, are in the, starting to get to their peak of their career, hopefully all starting to come together and gel at the right time and play some winning baseball for 6 months. And that's, I don't know. It feels good to have a winning ball team. You know what I mean? It feels good to have a winning baseball team in your city.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's something that we have been dying for since 2012.
Yeah.
Like we've had some decent teams. We've had the 2021 team was just shy of making the playoffs, and Castellanos and Votto, duking it out for the home run lead and the RBI lead, and Suarez hitting 49 home runs that one year. And 2012 was kind of the year they put it all together from 2010, where we had Votto win the MVP and Bruce was still kind of up and coming. He's only been like a year and a half into the league. Homer Bailey had been in the league for about a year and a half, 2 years. And like we're at the point now where, Ellie's been in the league for this would be his 3rd full season. McLean's going into his 3rd full season. Well, technically his 2nd full season.
Yeah.
2.5 years, I guess, or whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, we got some really good starters that they're young and they can get better. I would say that the starters that we have now are going to could be better than the starters that we had in 2021, where when Bauer won the Cy Young in 2020, right?
Yeah.
So I Rhett Lauder can be a really, really, really good pitcher. Chase Burns has Cy Young potential. Brandon Williamson's got, great fourth or fifth starter stuff. And that's not to mentioning, Hunter Green, if he can remain healthy, can be the ace of the staff. And Nick Lodolo just being that dominant lefty that we need. He looks to be coming back very soon. He had the really good rehab start today. And there's some guys in the minors that could come up in the next 2 years that are looking really good. One being Chase Petty, who could be coming up. I'd say he could be up this year. I doubt he is, but he could be. If everything goes good, he's not here yet. He gets a whole year in AAA, but the way he's been so inconsistent, I guess, just he's had some really dominant outings and he's had some ducks, but the Reds have a lot of great pitching that when the offense kind of does come back down to earth again, they can stay relevant and win games still. And then when the pitching goes through a slump, like we've seen in the last few games, like the offense can get hot and carry the pitching.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that I'm not terribly worried about this ball club is that they have really prioritized drafting and developing pitching, and that we're going to have depth where you can go a month or 2 or 3 months without Lodolo and Hunter and still be in first place in the division with a winning team and just go about your business as if, you know what, not saying we don't want them on our team, but we can get by. Next man up mentality, get the job done. Rhett Lauder battled, Williamson battles, Burns is electric. Jose Franco finally back up in the big club, so I'm happy about that. So we're going in the right direction, and we don't even have all our guys. So just like I said, putting the rest of the league on notice, man. Just watch out. These Reds can only get better.
Yeah, there's one last thing I want to say about South Stewart before we move on.
All right.
Because spoiler alert, he's not our red hot red of the week this week.
It could be every week.
He could be every week, but spoiler alert, he's not. George Foster currently holds the record for the most RBIs in a season. That's 149. Stewart's on pace for 174. So he's on pace to surpass that by 25 more RBIs.
Wow.
He's also on pace to hit 54 home runs, which, George Foster is the only Reds player to have 50 in a season too. So he's on pace to, what do you have, 55? If I remember right.
54, something like
54.
that.
So he's on pace to smash the RBI record and at least hit 50, which, he might surpass the team record, or he might get close to it. And then same with Ellie, like to have two guys in the same season do something that only one Red has done ever is just incredible. And, I'm not saying that Sal is going to be this player his entire career, but just listening to him on the Joe Danneman interview in spring training, just his desire to want to be a great player for 20 years. I mean, that's to be compared to Albert Pujols, and not just in nickname but in stats is crazy.
Yeah. Very thankful he's a Cincinnati Red. Thank you for that who do we get that comp
Nick
pick
Castellanos signed with the Phillies, so we got a comp pick. We drafted Cam Collier with pick 17, and we drafted Stewart with the comp pick in the first round.
Thank you, Nick Castellanos, yet again.
And thank you, Nick Kroll, for not trading Sal Stewart for Luis Robert.
Yeah. That'd be rough. But
Garrett Crochet.
Oh, yeah. He's still pretty good though. He's
still pretty good, but I like Sal Stewart better.
Robert's looking like a Mets man. That's another podcast. But we'll move on to our Red Hot Red of the Week. It's another Red Hot Red of the Week, because even though Sal Stewart had a great week, there was a couple other guys that carried this offense for the last 6 games, winning 4 out of the 6. And those two guys would be Ellie De La Cruz, and Nathaniel Lowe. Ellie also could be a guy that could be on this list every single week because he has had a great first month, making everyone feel like, man, if he had a healthy quad in August, just imagine what his like stats would have looked like. Just imagine how many wins we would have had in 2025. But neither here nor there. Ellie went 300 with on base of 364 and slugging 633 with 3 homers and stolen base. While Nathaniel Lowe, man, just killed it. Just he's taking his opportunities. 294, 333, 1,000 slugging, 4 homers and 5 RBIs. The only thing I think that I might have said before the show, like it's unfortunate that Nathaniel Lowe had nobody else on base for most of his home runs because this guy is just killing it. He's seeing beach balls out there, as I think that they say. But like, what were your thoughts on these two guys this week?
Yeah, I mean, I there's I could go on for an hour on both of these guys as well. I feel so fortunate that we were able to get Lowe on a minor league deal. He had the rough year last year, still hit like 18 home runs, I believe, which would have been his most he had hit in a season since 2022.
Yeah.
But he's been an above average hitter every year of his career, except for last year. Just I'm glad he's here, and I think he can do damage in this ballpark. I think he can do damage in this lineup, and he also provides protection for if Suarez is playing in the same game. Like he can provide protection for Suarez. He can provide protection for Stewart. He can provide protection for Ellie if you put him in the cleanup spot. Like he's an established hitter. He's still just 30. Like he's not even like an old player. Different type of player than Friedel being 30, but yeah, I mean he's just home runs are coming in bunches for him right now, and he's just really fun to watch. And then Ellie, I mean, you can't say enough about Ellie. He's just Ellie De La Cruz, but I mean he's he could be, like you said, he could be red hot red of the week every week. Like we had the segment last year. Is Ellie good? Yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
unreal.
And the errors thing is quickly becoming exactly what we kind of talked about in last year's episodes that going this year is that the older he gets, the more he learns, the more he adds to his game, the more he starts to be more confident in his fielding and not over throwing the ball or over fielding in some situation, whatever it ends up being. He's still a guy that's a monster when it comes to outs above replacement. And he seems to be a guy that is now starting to figure it out and not try to, throw it 115 miles an hour across the diamond every single time. He's just getting into his routine and his mechanics to throw it across it. So I don't know. I'm not on Red's Facebook. I don't think I'd want to be, but I don't think those people are saying as much about him. I mean, maybe obviously someone's going to find something to complain about, but he's definitely not. He's not throwing games away. He's learning from Tito in terms of like, we are going to play clean, disciplined baseball. And Ellie seems to be like that as well. In terms of also like, he's not running into outs either, right? Like he's got a pretty high stealing percentage. And I think that's credit to, his manager instilling that we don't give away outs for free. We're not going out there giving away out. You only get 27 of them every single game. Why let them get anything on you? Like, by maybe being a little bit too aggressive on the base paths sometimes. But yeah, he's also just hitting the snot out of the baseball. We'll take that every day.
Yeah. I mean, Ellie had an out in yesterday's game. It was 115 up and Javi Baez stole it. I don't know if you saw the play, but he hit that thing hard. And it was just still cool hearing Adam Wainwright hype up the Reds and Ellie and just how great of a player he is. He's like that out was one of the hardest hit balls Ellie's hit in his career. And, Baez was just in the right spot at the right time. But I mean, like even his outs are extremely hard hit. Just he's Ellie. I mean, there's not enough I could say that there's no words in the human language that can describe how much of a great talent Ellie is.
Yeah. And I'm really excited to see Nathaniel Lowe go up against right-handed pitching this week. I hope he has 6 homers against the Colorado Rockies and just wins the game, wins all 3 games single-handedly by himself. I'd just love to see that because he's got to take advantage of this time. Obviously, Suarez is going to be on the IL for a 10-day IL, I believe. So he should take advantage of his opportunities when he gets them, and he has so far. So, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I'm not trying to put pressure on him. I just love to see him continue to rake, especially Great American Small Park, man. Just lift it in the air out there a little bit. And he's strong. He's not no TJ Friedel out there or anything, but like he can really get a hold of one if he really gets behind it. And we've seen that already just this week, 4 homers this week. So yeah, shout out to both those guys, Red Hot Red of the week. Hopefully, maybe both of them to be on here next week for Red Hot Red of the week as well. If they have some good series that against the Rockies at home and then also against Pittsburgh and PNC. But anything else about those guys before we move on for this upcoming week?
No.
It's going to be interesting because they get this day off on Monday, and it feels like they've been losing a lot of getaway days, and then they get this day of rest. So it's kind of like it makes the off day just feel that kind of a little bit worse because they're coming off a loss, but they're still at least going to be at home against Colorado. I going off of kind of just recent history that Colorado is really bad. I actually haven't even looked at what they actually are as an organization. I know they got like a rookie manager, I believe, this year as well. So like they might be in all sorts of different things. They're traveling in different time zones down here to Cincinnati, but like the series I'm kind of really looking at is this Pittsburgh one, because the Pittsburgh one kind of, if you could win 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh, that is all I could ask for out of this ball club, because Pittsburgh's going to have probably I didn't see the probables, probably going to have a pretty good rotation of guys. If not, they might see Skeens, I believe, but it should be a tough task to win 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. But what are your first thoughts in Colorado and Pittsburgh this week?
Yeah, so we got Chase Burns on the mound Tuesday. Colorado hasn't announced a starter. They're just 3 games below 500, so they're not this terrible team that they've been historically. But so we got Burns, Williamson, Abbott as our 3 versus Colorado, and then that makes it Singer, Louder, Burns for Pittsburgh, if I'm doing the math right on there. Trying to see if I can get Pittsburgh's probables, but I feel like we are going to see Skeens and maybe the opener. Or no, I feel like Skeens is going to pitch Wednesday or Thursday.
I'm seeing I got Mladazinski on the Friday, Braxton Ashcraft, and Bubba Chandler.
Okay, so Chandler gave us some problems in his last start, so that's probably the one I'm most worried about. But that was, our first matchup with them this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, as much hate as I give the Pirates, it's mostly because of their fans on social media. But they're a pretty good team this year, and they haven't really figured it out offensively either. If we're gonna be honest, like this would be our first time seeing Connor Griffin, so that's gonna be interesting to see him because he's a really, really talented prospect. I think they would say the best prospect since Mike Trout. Just great player. Obviously they got Skeens, Bubba Chandler, but their big acquisitions really haven't been great yet, which can change, at any time because they did lose. They lost 5-0 today to the Brewers, but
they won that series against the Brewers. They won the first 2.
If we're looking, like, Brian Reynolds is just hitting 242. Marcelo Zuna's got a 495 OPS. Ryan O'Hearn's doing pretty well. He's hitting 315 with an 893 OPS. But Connor Griffin, as much as the Pirates fans are hyping him up for Rookie of the Year, like, obviously Sal's having just MVP level numbers compared to what Connor Griffin's putting up. He's just hitting 224 with the 602 OPS, but I mean, he's a great talent, and it just takes a couple games. I mean, like we saw with Ellie, you start out slow, you have a great series, and you can take off for a month. So I'm not worried about him either. Well, as a Reds fan, I'm kind of worried about what he can do. I mean, him is long term, his ability. He's gonna be a good player. But it is the Pirates. Are they going to be able, they do have him locked up long term, but obviously they're not going to lock up Skeens long term. It just doesn't seem like it anyway. So I don't know. It's going to be a good series for sure. Like I said, I think we have Singer, Louder, Burns. So I think we have two of our three best pitchers pitching that series. So I feel pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like I'm going off ESPN because they actually don't have the probables in the MLB app. But a guy named Sugano for Colorado and Michael Lorenzen might pitch on Thursday. They don't have anybody on the Wednesday game, so we might see a little reunion of Michael Lorenzen. I think I might have said off camera before, like Michael Lorenzen's a Rocky. What?
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so I don't know. I guess I shouldn't really overlook Colorado because what's going to end up happening if the guys also do that, like look forward to the Pittsburgh series before taking care of business at home against the Rockies, is that they could drop 2 out of 3 of the Rockies. And then we're looking to have to win 2 out of 3 just to salvage a 3-3 week. So yeah, I don't know. A nice 3-game sweep of the Rockies would put me in a better mood to lose, 2 out of 3 to the Pittsburgh Pirates and have a 4-2 week. You know what I mean? So, and the 2 of the games are going to be on national TV, Apple on Friday and FS1 on Saturday. So,
yeah, I mean, the Rockies did just sweep the Mets. So,
wow,
it is the Mets. The Mets have only won 9 games this season.
Yeah.
But,
so I guess, yeah.
they split the series with the Dodgers. They won 2 out of the 4. They lost 3 out of 4 against San Diego, and then they swept New York. So, I mean, they're not this team that they've been historically. Like they swept Houston. They haven't played San Diego well at all this year, but they've done okay. But historically, I can't remember what it is, but we've won so many in a row against Colorado. Like it's bound to end. Like you're never going to beat a team every time you play them, but I mean, I like our pitching in this series too.
Yeah, for sure.
Abbott's due for a rebound.
Hopefully that getaway day. Hopefully we're not playing terrible baseball on the getaway day. Hopefully we can, get after it, get some run support for Abbott and get him on the back on the right track. That'd be great. But yeah, I don't know. Take care of business at home and then, beat up on the Pirates. Hopefully at PNC is my hope this week. 4-2 on the week is my guess. Hopefully one way or the other, winning 2 out of 3 for both or sweeping the Rockies and just getting 1 on the road. I'd be okay with. What about you?
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like a 4-2 week's very possible. Like maybe even, a sweep of Colorado when you take 1 out of 3 against Pittsburgh, or you sweep Colorado and you take 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. I feel pretty good about those, but I think this is the week of the season where, just we've done pretty well up to this point, but it's time to prove that we're going to take that next step over these teams that are in the division. We beat the teams outside of the division. We've haven't really beat Pittsburgh yet this year. So it's time to flip the hand here. And as they say, B to A, it's time. It's time.
Yeah, for sure. And we're not going to play against Skeens. So yeah, let's get after it. Yeah. 6-0 week. All right, let's put it
Let's
out
do
there.
it.
6-game winning streak. But yeah, anything else you got, Ricky, for this week or anything coming up for you, writing wise?
No, I'm going to try to look at some minor league stuff. Try to do some more of that. I've been kind of slacking on that. And I had the South Stewart Ellie article come out today. I had the Nathaniel Lowe piece come out on Saturday. And Thankfully, I've had the opportunity to share that twice because I wrote it and then he homered again, so I shared it again, and he homered again today, so I shared it again today. It's like I'm gonna share that every time he does something because he's just been a very welcomed addition to this team, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, for sure. Why not? I mean, yeah, anytime homers, just keep putting it out there. Just like, hey,
I'm gonna have views on that thing in like September. Like, why are you still getting views on this? Because I'm sharing it every time he does something.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah, man. So yeah, good stuff. But yeah, check out Minor League Mondays as well on this channel. We'll be recapping the minor leagues for the Cincinnati Reds and their affiliates. Also coming up, ACL and DSL preview, the Complex League and the Dominican Summer Leagues preview. We'll be getting that out there this coming week sometime because ACL starts on Saturday, May 2nd. Oh man, that's already here. So
crazy.
that should be an exciting part of the organization. A lot of guys that we follow are probably going to be in there that we'll highlight and talk about a lot for that preview. So, but yeah, if you got nothing else, Ricky, we'll sign off and say, go Reds.
Go Reds.